All right. And so I know that you have set up camp, and we'll talk a little bit about that. And that was just the other evening, I believe. And so can we talk about the effects that it would have in Lakota territory, and I know the aquifer and the sacred water?
Well, this is Greg Cloud. We're here at the camp right now as we speak. It was set up yesterday, and it's been in the works for a couple of weeks. And we're going to be here for, like Russell said, the long haul. We're here to. It's a prayer spiritual camp, so we're here to pray. We're not here to create anything else other than a prayer that's opposing the KXL pipeline and all the destruction that it's bringing. So we're manned here with a pretty good sized camp. We've got people, and we're waiting for our ceremony tonight. So
this is Aldo with Oyate Wahacanka Woecun. To add to that second part of that question, what it means to us as far as the people. I mean, one of the biggest concerns we have, and in addition to the water, is the place of domestic violence and the threat it creates for our women and our children specifically. We know that crime is associated with the oil industry. We know that in the man camps, crimes escalate. We know that we're told statistically that 1 in 3 Native women are going to be the victims of sexual assault. And we're very concerned with having an additional 1,200 people in the community right next to the reservation, when we know that those people who typically are Native women 86% of the time are non-Native males. So that creates some grave concerns for us. And in addition to that, of course, there's the concerns to the water. There's the concerns that the EIS statement is flawed, that the Sicangu Lakota were not consulted as far as if there was any areas of cultural significance along the pipeline route. And there are. In one property alone, just in one small 40-acre portion along this route, there was a THPO study done after the EIS report was released. It said that there was nothing out there. When our THPO team went out there, we in fact did find several effigies and evidence of cultural significance there. That's just one 40-acre lot. Imagine the entire pipeline route.
Yeah, it's going through sacred territory, and I hear what you're saying, and I was reading about the yesterday about the sacrifice zones that you were talking about, the lands under the treaty that the federal government, they totally disregarded them. And like you said, they have not consulted any of the Lakota nations. And so this is nothing new for Native people not to be consulted. But what we're doing is that we want to be able to help you and have a voice to be able for the United States government to have that conversation with you, that conversation with Obama, with all the threats that you were talking about, and many more that can come through with the pipeline. We know that that environmentally it will devastate the water, and like you're saying, the women and children, folks coming in, they don't necessarily stay there, and so they do whatever they want to do, and then they leave. And so for us to be able to help you, how would we do that? I know that we have a website here, the shieldthepeople.org, but do we need to send letters? Do we need to call? What would be the best help?
Well, of course, any help, including spiritual help, is of great significance. If our relatives can continue praying with us against this kind of injustice that's occurring, that's a huge help that everyone can help do. In addition to that, there is a website, shieldthepeople.org. We post information there. We're also on Facebook, Oyate Wahacanka Woecun. You can look us up there as well. And we're in the process now, and we're always looking to find resources. that can help us in facilitating this action, both here and in April 22nd through the 27th. We're actually going to be in Washington, D.C., pleading with the government to uphold their responsibility to these treaties. So that's another action that we're going to need help with, both if there's resources that people can participate with or actually physically being there. That's also going to be instrumental so that we can show our presence, we can show our voice, and we can show as unified people, we don't want to tolerate this anymore. We don't want to have to deal with this anymore. We deserve to be consulted, and it's required by treaty and by law.
Treaty law is the highest law of the land, and that's one of the things that I've been talking about for years, that most Americans don't understand, that the treaties are the highest law of the land. Native people were here long before anybody had arrived to the shores, and we have to honor those treaties. And we need to... Your voice is important to get out there to share with the people that... I just, for myself, I'm just trying to put into words how I've always felt about the government, and how that the Native people have just totally been disregarded since day one, and we need to honor the treaties, and we need to be able to get out there and help the people have that voice with the government. The cultural resources alone, I mean, they're going through sacred territory. We talk a little bit about that, and I also was reading about the black snake and the prophecies, and how this was all foretold a long time ago. Is that something we can talk about?
Well, we were told specifically by several medicine men back several years ago, maybe about 20 years ago, that we have to look after our water because it was going to be in jeopardy in the future. And we're seeing that those things are coming to pass. And they told us to prepare. That's something that they always told us to do, is to prepare and be ready for anything that happens. As far as when we start talking about areas of significance, it's hard to even have that conversation. When you look at every butte and every valley in the United States was sacred to someone at some point. And especially around this area, a lot of relatives, they're buried in those places. And we even had a situation recently where there were some remains found on the side of a road. We don't know how they got there, but we know that they were over 200 years old. And the THPO office, the Historic Preservation Office of the Rosebud Sioux Tribe, has been working diligently with law enforcement and trying to identify, and with several universities, trying to identify where these remains came from and how to put them back where they belong. But that's just an example of people disregarding what's in the ground, what's in the soil, what's in this land.
There, in addition to the, violation of our sacred land, there's also, imminent threat to, our life and health and well-being. The proposed pipeline will cross the Missouri River, and the Rosebud Sioux Tribe, in addition to the Pine Ridge the Pine Ridge Sioux Tribe, the Oglala Nation, both take a lot of their potable drinking water called the Miniwi-Tony water line, and that water, a majority of it, comes from the Missouri River. So if there's a spill and the Missouri River becomes contaminated, our drinking water will be contaminated. In addition, it also crosses the Miniwi-Tony line, the actual line, and we know that if there's a spill there, it crosses it in two places. That if a spill happens in one of those places, the toxic material is very corrosive, and again, our drinking water could be contaminated. And then, finally, of course, it goes over the Oglala Aquifer, which sits underneath part of our reservation. So there's an imminent threat to our health and well-being.
Yeah, I was looking here on your map, and it shows where the proposed Keystone XL expansion is going to go through up in and through Canada all the way down through Houston, and it'll affect. It says here 2.3 million people in the water, drinking water, of course, and so. Again, I'm like I said, I'm looking at the map, and so you guys you set up a spiritual camp, teepees to set there, and you have allies coming. We talk a little bit about some of the folks that are helping.
We have a number of folks that are helping from all over the country. More specifically, we have a number of representatives from the Oyate Wahacanka, which is the 7 council fires, and that's what we call ourselves, but we're more commonly known as the Great Sioux Nation. And yesterday, when we established the camp and we had our prayers and representatives from other tribal nations came and were helping and assisting us. We also have one of our relatives who prays with us and actually lives here on the Rosebud Reservation, and he's Nez person. He's been very involved. His name is Gary Dorr, and he's been very involved in helping us. And another group of people that have been very supportive has been Bold, Nebraska. Our non-Indian relatives over in Nebraska, they had won a great court case and against KXL, and they're going to have to go through the permitting process again. The process that was followed was held to be unconstitutional by the Supreme Court of the state of Nebraska, and so they're going to be having to go through that process again. We also have local groups such as We Cha Agli assisting us. They're a local educating men's group, and they're a Men Against Violence group. In addition, we have support from our tribal programs. The entire tribe, Rosebud Sioux Tribe, and the official tribal government from our other tribes is offering support and assistance in this process.
Right, and I hear from different folks on. There's a bunch of people on the line to give everybody a chance to express what's in their heart, and like I said, I'm real laid back. I've been reading a lot, and I've been following what's been going on in Lakota territory for some time now, probably about 5 years, and I know it's increasing intensity down there, and I know that I've been told by many different of my friends that though it's not going through. They're going to stay in this camp, and it's not coming through Lakota territory, period. And so I wanted to give a chance for others that are on the line to express the importance of us to come together, and important for us today more than ever. We are heading. It's just really, when I think about all the things that are happening, all the natural disasters, all the we just had some mudslides here happen in Washington over in Snoqualmie County, and we're getting signs everywhere from Mother Earth that we need to stop going in the direction that we're going, or we're not going to be able to continue. And I wanted to talk about that and the importance of us working together to stop all these things that are definitely happening or trying to happen.
This is Paula Antwine, and I just wanted to add to that that is one of the main reasons why we decided to have our spirituality and prayer come first, because it's most important to us in our in our values and our traditions, that we consider our hearts and our what we hold dear to our hearts, and that's our prayer and our families and the land. And everybody has a part in the circle, and there are so many organizations, individuals, grassroots, non-Indians, people from all different walks of life who joined in, and have been joining in for years on all the environmental atrocities that have been happening to Munchimaka. And yesterday, when we did our caravan, there were hundreds of cars from individuals, tribal members. There were a lot of students, children, elders, who all came together to join in our prayer and our gathering, where we're going to stand together in prayer and pray for Unchimaka and protect our land. So that's some of my feelings on that. I know the gentleman has some views themselves, so I'll let them go ahead.
Thank you. I'm sorry. I apologize for kind of being all over the place. I've been just my heart is really heavy these days with what's happening on the Mother Earth, and I recently watched geoengineeringwatch.org, and my heart, I just we need to stop going in the direction that we're going as human beings and start listening to the first people, the First Nations of this land. I've said this before many times on my show. I'm 47 years old and lived without an Indigenous viewpoint in the forefront, and I know that's why we're all out of balance, and we need to start to listen with our hearts and work together, like you were saying, and prayer first. But I'm just really, I'm at a loss for words with the direction that we're heading, and I'm just grateful for you folks standing strong on the front line and doing that. My prayer is joined with your prayer.
Thank you.
We are very appreciative of that, and we're asking everyone throughout the country to join in this. It's not just an issue. The Oglala Aquifer, it's a part of South Dakota and stretches all the way down to Texas. And, it impacts, 35% of America's breadbasket. So it's not just an Indian issue. It's a people issue. It's a human issue. And when we think about, the opportunity that we have here in this country, that we have an Indian country to work with our non-Indian relatives, it's tremendous what we could do when we start looking at renewable energy, when we start looking at construction, to turn, the negative progress that we've made, to turn things around and to start living in harmony with the earth, and to live in a way that we can, ensure a future for our grandchildren's grandchildren. So we have to start with prayer, like Paula said. We have to, and then turn that prayer into action, which is what we're doing here with our spiritual camp. But it's not just going to be us; it's going to be, an entire nation that has an opportunity to turn things around.
All right, and so we can again go to shieldthepeople.org, and I know that there's a lot of information there. There's also a wonderful video people can listen to, and there's a how to help button. If you are able to help, you can help their secured site, and there's a lot of information. So do we touch base with everything that everyone wanted to share, get out? We always ask if there's something on your heart. There's an old saying here. The elder told me, he said, we have something on our heart. If we don't say it now, it'll follow us around until we do. So I try to incorporate that in my show. And if there's something in your heart that we haven't discussed that you'd like to, I'd love to offer that time. Okay. All right. So shieldthepeople.org. Check it out. And I want to thank everybody for sharing with us this half an hour. And thank you.
Thank you. We very appreciate it.
Thank you very much.
Thank
you.
Thanks. Have a good evening.
You too.
All right, take care. This is KAOS 89.3 FM, and Gary Dorr on the line from Shield Project. And Gary, how are you?
Oh, good. Good to hear from you.
Good to hear from you too. I just heard from a group of folks from the camp, and I was trying to explain with our relatives. My heart's really been heavy the last couple days, especially with all the things that are happening in our beautiful planet here, and this pipeline. It's a major thing that's happening. A few years back, I remember a guy named Russ Wheeler, Uncle Phil, Chief Phil Lane, was on the line with us, and we're talking about the tar sands, and he made this statement saying it's the world's largest carbon bomb. And I know it's more than just a pipeline going through the territory. It's sacred land, it's sacred water. The women will be affected. All these things are happening, and I just wanted to give everybody a chance to voice what's happening in Lakota territory, so we could help out. And I wanted to start from there. We can talk if you wanted to talk to that. I'll first give you a chance to introduce yourself. And again, thank you for calling in.
Well, thank you. Yeah, my name is Gary Dorr, and I'm a member of the Nez Perce Tribe. And recently, you might have heard about the Nez Perce Tribe beating the megaloads. And the megaloads are these giant trucks, 385 feet long, 800,000 pounds, that are going down up the Columbia River to Lewiston, Idaho, and they're being offloaded, and they're crossing across the land to go to Canada. And these are just massive loads. They take up 2 lanes, and they take a special convoy of people working with them to get them down the road. So we won a lawsuit against them because they were going through our treaty territory. So coming out here I'm working with the Rosebud Sioux Tribe now. I'm the media coordinator for Shield the People. And so working here, what we're fighting against is the other end of that work from the tar sands will be coming through the territory here. So it's and the parts, I don't know if anybody's talked about the programmatic agreement with you about that yet?
Not yet.
Okay, so when this pipeline was constructed, the project needed to have a programmatic agreement as part of the environmental impact statement. And so when they did that, there's 3 levels of signatories on the programmatic agreement. One of them is a signatory, which would be the Department of State, the United States, and like Keystone, or maybe, I don't know, a couple of other agencies. And then you have the invited signatories, and that would include like some corporations, some of the counties, some of the states, maybe some of the county commissions, those type of things. And then you have the concurring parties. So you have 3 levels of signatory to the programmatic agreement. The first 2, the signatories and the invited signatories, can stop the project at any time. So if they see something wrong, they can say, nope, we can't do it. The concurring parties only have a right to either say we concur or just not sign. Well, the tribes all have resources and historical sites out in the areas, the entire length of the pipeline. We deserve to be signatories. We've been relegated to the status of concurring parties. So that means we have no recourse. We can't stop the project if it's going to go through a sacred site, through like a battlefield site. or a burial site or something like where we might have effigies in the ground, significant cultural artifacts. So the other thing is the tribes need to be consulted on a government-to-government basis. So that means in bringing the Department of State's Secretary Kerry or the Vice President or the President to the reservation to address the Rosebud Sioux Tribe or a nation. And that didn't occur. So what we're looking at now is they just said you can concur or not concur. And so there's no way for us to stop the project, and the water line across the Mini-Wachoni water line twice, which supplies water to all the residents west of the Missouri River in South Dakota. So, we're not only speaking for us, we're speaking for our neighbors as well. And there's several ranchers and people that live in the area that don't want it here either. So that's the work we're doing in the Spirit Camp. Did they explain what the Spirit Camp was about yet?
Yeah, they explained a little bit about how they set up I'm not sure how it was set up, but there's TP setting up, and it's a peace camp, prayer camp. And I'm still reading on the webpage. Can we talk a little bit about where it's at?
Okay, as you travel east of the Rosebud mission, which is on the Rosebud Reservation, you'll head towards Winter, South Dakota, and before you get there, you'll head north on the Highway 183, and it's very near to a tribal housing community known as Ideal. And so it's 9 miles up that road, and we're just off to the right. If you're looking at the Keystone XL pipeline, there's a bend in the pipeline. We are right next to that bend, literally within feet of that bend on our tribal land. And so we've united in prayer with focusing prayers right now through that camp. And there will be other camps coming up. I just left a meeting at the Lower Brule tribe, which is north of Rosebud, and they just got $5,000 to start their own spirit camp up there. And so we have another one going up on the Cheyenne River Sioux Tribe, and there might be another one coming up on the Ponca land. There's been one already in the Ponca last October. So as this camp will be up for the long haul until one of two things happens. Either President Obama denies the permit or the construction begins. And if that construction begins, this camp will change from a prayer camp into a direct action blockade camp. And we will stand in the way of anything that's going to go down that pipeline corridor.
All right, Gary. So how again can we help? Well,
if you go to shieldthepeople.org, for those that want to donate financially, that we have a PayPal donation button on our page. So that's one of the ways for people that can't come to the camp. The other thing is we do need that prayer support. We are in the spiritual phase right now. We want President Obama to deny the permit. That's what we're praying for. And we're praying for the protection of the land and the restoration of the land up north in the Fort Chipewyan Athabascan Nation, where the open pit mine is. I'm not sure if you guys know, but the tar sands pit mine is about the size of Florida right now. You can go up in a helicopter and you can't see both ends of the pit. And that's how big of an area we are talking about.
Wow, I didn't realize it was that big.
Yes, it is. You can see it from space. I mean, that's the size and the magnitude of what we're doing here. And it doesn't fall in line with President Obama's initiative to cut down on carbon emissions. This is, and the other thing is on a human level, the Fort Chipewyan people up there, before the tar sands pit mine went in, they had a negligible cancer rate. I mean, it wasn't even trackable. It was so minuscule. And now they have 400 times the national Canadian average of cancer rates. The fish have tumors in them. The elk and the moose have tumors in them. It's in the water. Everything is the migratory waterfowl that are going up there are getting contaminated with this stuff. So even on a human level, just aside from the science, the human level, the impact, we have moral authority to stop that. And that's what we're operating on right now.
All right, so shieldthepeople.org, and again, I appreciate you sharing with us this evening, and we'll be in touch and for more progress that's been happening.
Okay, and people can visit our Facebook page also. We're Oyate Wahacanka Woecun.
All right, I'll send it around my network. And again, thanks for giving us a call this evening.
All right, well, thank you. Thanks for your time.
All right, thank you. Take care.